You might not know that animals in the natural world can also be hypnotized just like humans, from newly hatched chicks to massive sharks in the ocean, from fierce wild beasts growing in the wild to adorable pets kept at home. It seems no creature is immune to the terrifying power of hypnosis. Its marvels far surpass your imagination. Rank 10, drawing a straight line to hypnotize. Maybe you've seen a video like this before. Someone presses on a chicken's head, then draws a straight line in front of it. Once the chicken calms down, they let go, and you end up with a dazed chicken. And this state can even last for half an hour. Do chickens really get hypnotized? Not entirely. In simple terms, the chicken is just frightened. As everyone knows, chickens are very timid. This series of hypnotic tricks relies heavily on the first step, because when you press on the chicken's head, it makes the chicken feel like it's facing a huge life-threatening danger. In this situation, where it's hit but can't fight back, and can't escape, it chooses to play dead. British psychologist Gibson mentioned in his writings that the longest recorded time for Northwest hypnosis was 3 hours and 47 minutes. He also has a special term for this phenomenon, called tonic immobility. When animals are touched closely, or feel threatened, they experience predator-induced paralysis. They may become stiff as if their muscles are frozen. They become stiff as if their acupoints have been pressed. Their bodies are rigid. Their eyes are dull. But in fact, they are still conscious. They remain alert to changes in their surroundings at all times. Once they feel safe, they look for an opportunity to escape. So how does this line relate to these things? Actually, not much. This trick was invented in the 17th century by an Italian monk. Back then, the monk tied a rope around a chicken's legs. After struggling for a while, the chicken would stop moving. Then the monk would untie the chicken's legs and draw a line in front of the chicken. Even after the line was drawn, the chicken remained still. The monk thought the chicken mistook the line for the rope tied to its legs, so it stayed obediently in place. Later, scientists proved this idea was wrong. The line actually served no real purpose. But you have to admit, with that line, the whole hypnosis scene looks very theatrical. Number 9, Indian street snake charmers. In India, for hundreds of years, there has been a mysterious and fascinating snake charming culture, always active on Indian streets, carrying various baskets with snakes inside. The gourd-shaped snake sticks are all the snake charming acts. But street performers, can you really hypnotize a venomous snake by playing a snake flute? Using music to hypnotize snakes, that's actually just a trick. Actually, snakes are animals with incomplete senses. Let's start with their eyes. They look bright and round, but their vision is actually very poor. They can only see objects a few centimeters away. And snakes have very poor hearing too. Snakes don't have external ears. They lack middle ear bones and eardrums, so they can barely hear outside sounds. They can only sense vibrations through the ground and their skin, perceiving footsteps around them. So here's the question. Why are snake charmers popular on Indian streets? You often see cobras dancing gracefully to the sound of a flute. How do they actually perceive the sound of the flute? Although a snake's hearing and vision are both poor, its senses are actually very sharp. It can sense air currents flowing through the air and subtle temperature changes in the environment. You'll notice that the snakes dancing to the flute always have one end of the flute pointed directly at the snake. After people blow into the flute, the airflow from the flute's pipe blows toward the snake, so the snake sways to avoid the airflow, making it look like it's dancing. To make the snake more sensitive to air currents, before playing the flute, the snake charmer also sprinkles some water on the snake. So, the sound of the flute doesn't actually resonate with the snake, but it easily gains the trust of people. This might be one of the most successful human hypnotic methods. 8th place, flipping sharks. If coming close to a cobra already gives you chills, then you might want to close your eyes for a moment, because what's coming next will be even scarier. Remember that hypnotized chicken from before? Sharks can also be guided into a state of forced immobility, achieving a hypnotic effect, but the method is different. You need to flip them over. Look, this is a real photo. Using advanced skills, you can flip the shark over. Sharks can often enter a state of forced immobility within a minute. Their muscles relax, breathing slows down, and their bodies stretch rhythmically. They can remain in this dazed state for several minutes, as if they are sleeping. It's like they're sleeping. In this state, they can stay like that for up to 15 minutes. Then they return to normal and start moving again. Look at the ocean's biggest predator. In just a few seconds, it turns into a floating seafood stick. But sharks are obviously top predators in the ocean. Why did they evolve to develop this defensive tactic of freezing in place? There's no clear answer to that question yet. After all, unlike other animals, sharks don't seem to react out of fear. But whatever the reason, researchers often use this technique when studying large fishtails. However, this technique only works on certain types of sharks. For example, it's not very effective on great white sharks. So if you ever encounter a great white, don't try to hypnotize it. Running away quickly is the most important thing. Number 7, squid hypnotism. So far, we've only seen animals being hypnotized. But you know what? Some animals are born with hypnotic skills. For example, these weird-looking soft-bodied animals, squid, are true hypnotic masters. On their skin, There are 200 pigment cells per square millimeter, which allows them to change colors at will and decorate themselves with vibrant hues. This incredible camouflage helps squids hide well on the ocean floor and avoid easy detection. But their uses go far beyond that. When squids hunt, they turn their entire bodies into a dazzling, pulsating light show. This hypnotic display can attract nearby shrimp. Firefly fish are lured toward the squid, and then it's time for the attack. The squid shoots out its tentacles in an instant, grasping the hypnotized prey. Then they pull the prey in for the attack. I didn't expect watching a light show could cost you your life, because once you're captivated, you can't escape the squid's control. Number 6. Gently stroking a lobster you might not know. Chefs can hypnotize lobsters to make them stand on their heads. Generally, you just need to flip the lobster over, supporting it with its claws. Then gently stroke its back a few times in a row, and suddenly, just like magic, a lobster that was flaring its claws becomes completely still. Isn't that amazing? Actually, chefs often use this method to keep cold-blooded crustaceans still before cooking. Although this ancestral technique is common among chefs, few have studied the underlying mechanism. They suspect that stroking may relax the lobster, like how you might soothe a dog, making it lower its guard. When you flip it over, blood rushes to its head, causing it to faint. Well, humans also feel dizzy after standing on their heads for too long, and some believe this immobility is a last-ditch defense mechanism used to deceive predators, making them think it's dead. If that's true, these poor little creatures don't realize that doing this only brings them closer to death. 5th place, cow music. Few people dislike music, but what you might not expect is animals also like music, and some animals love it so much they become hypnotized. Cows are among the animals most affected by music. Many farm workers have noticed that playing music for cows can increase milk production by over 3%. Music seems to help calm the cows to some extent, making their emotions more stable. This helps the calves' endocrine system stay healthier. When the cows are happy, they naturally graze more eagerly and produce more milk. This practice was quickly adopted by farms around the world. It's said that all cows really enjoy music. At first, they look around curiously, trying to find the source of the sound. Soon, the cows settle down. Some calves even wag their tails to the music. Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony seems to be quite popular among the cows, but it seems that cows in different regions have different musical preferences. Some cows like jazz, others prefer piano music, and some even like rock music. It seems that farm owners really need to learn more about their own calves' musical tastes. Based on what they like, they should build several different cow barns. 4th place, death-playing goats. There's a very strange type of sheep in the world. They're called faking death goats. Faking death or playing dead goats? For them, how to handle sudden fainting is a lifelong challenge. These sheep are a unique breed found in the Americas. They are relatively small. The smaller ones are between 43 and 63 centimeters tall. You just need to casually touch this yam. It will stiffen immediately and fall over every time. It sounds both pitiful and funny. Turns out this dramatic reaction, it's a result of a rare genetic disorder called congenital reflex and paralysis. They aren't actually fainting. It's just that their skeletal muscles tighten up when frightened, causes them to suddenly collapse. They usually stay conscious throughout the process. It's like being hypnotized. They can't control falling down. Apparently, under normal circumstances, Yangmai animals faint about 25 times. But luckily, it doesn't cause them any harm. Once the stiffness passes, they immediately get up. In this way, we won't feel guilty about mocking them anymore. 3rd place, Zunyu pats his stomach. Fish are famously slippery. That's also why people use fishing rods to catch fish, not hands. But now, I want to share a hypnotic secret with you. It makes it easy for you to catch the fish from the water. First, you need to gently approach the fish. Don't scare it away. Then quickly bend down. Friction your fingers on its belly, as if tickling it. If you succeed, you'll find that the fish that's being tickled will enter a brief daze. At this moment, you can easily grab it from the water. Actually, Mo Zunyu doesn't have a heart attack at the U-point. This method has been practiced for centuries, and is even mentioned in Shakespeare's great works. Sun Yu really enjoys the feeling of being tickled on the belly, to the point where they stop moving, immersed in this happy feeling. Although it sounds a bit unbelievable, it's actually very effective. 2nd place. Anyone who's ever raised cats knows there's a very effective method that can immediately calm any cat down. Just grab a clothespin or a clothes clip, clamp it behind the cat's neck, or simply pick up the cat by the back of the neck with your hand, and you'll see instant calmness. This phenomenon is called clamp hypnosis in common sayings. Scientifically, it's called pinching, a behavior-inducing form of suggestion. The amazing part is, when you want to end this hypnosis effect, just take the clamp off again. Clothespin hypnosis doesn't seem to differ from straight rigid fixation. It's not caused by fear or pain. Hypnotized cats don't show dilated pupils, accelerated heartbeat, or rapid breathing. And, unlike other animals in a stiff, frozen state, cats still retain responsibility. Researchers point out that this is actually a cat's instinct. When you lift a cat by its neck and back, it feels a sense of calmness and safety, similar to being held by its mother. This innate soothing effect is very powerful, so much so that even without its mother present, a cat will almost immediately surrender to this feeling. Cats almost immediately submit to this feeling. And it's not just effective on kittens, many adult cats are the same way. So, the next time you need to trim your cat's nails, why not try this method? It's a really handy little trick. Number 1, flipping the rabbit. Everyone's seen a magician pull a rabbit out of a hat. But that's just a cheap trick. What's truly impressive is actually hypnotizing a rabbit, and this process is surprisingly simple. All you have to do is flip the rabbit over, 4 paws up. The rabbit will quickly close its eyes and stay still. This is actually in the rabbit's nature. Once you flip it over, it will instinctively think that it has been targeted by a predator. So it plays dead, hoping that the predator will lower its guard and leave them alone. In the past, magicians would use this technique in their performances. But now we know that this is actually very cruel. Although the rabbit appears relaxed on the outside, in reality, they are under a lot of psychological stress. Their heart rate spikes rapidly during this time, reaching a dangerously frightening level. They could even die on the spot. So if you're a pet lover or a rabbit owner, please do not use this terrifying hypnotic technique on them. Otherwise, you'll regret it for life. Alright, that's all for today's video. I wonder which of these 10 terrifying animal hypnosis methods left the deepest impression on you. Feel free to tell us in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share to support me to create more interesting content. Thank you for your support.